Today we'll be testing 4 different types of .22 long rifle ammunition and accuracy and penetration. The gun is a Ruger 1022 that we'll be shooting it out of, and all the different types of shells are CCI products. 2 hunting and 2 target and plinking ammunition. The first one is my favorite, the CCI Stinger, 32 grain copper plated hollow point, 1640 feet per second, and 191 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. The second one that's good for hunting is a CCI Velociter. It's a 40 grain copper plated hollow point, traveling at 1435 feet per second, but it's a 40 grain and it has 183 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. After 100 yards, this Velociter overtakes the Stinger in kinetic energy, but most people shoot .22 under 100 yards. Our third choice ammunition today is Standard Velocity .22 long rifle. This is supposed to be really good, accurate stuff. It's not high velocity, it's only 1,070 feet per second. It's also a 40 grain lead round nose, but it's supposed to really shoot good, so we're going to try that out. And then the CCI's bulk pack is CCI Blazer. This has a 40 grain round nose too. It's in its bulk selection. It has a velocity of 1,235 feet per second and 135 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Don't quote me on this, but I think the Standard Velocity either has 98 or 102. I'm not quite sure, but it's somewhere really close in there. So we're gonna try them out. All right, here we go. It's gonna be a top left hand side CCI Stingers. You should be able to hear the difference. They really crack a lot louder. Here we go. I guess that's it. Okay, what I did this time is I stacked 5 Standard Velocities in a clip with 5 Blazers. So the first 5 shots are the Blazers and the second 5 shots are the Standard Velocity. The Blazer will be in the top left corner. Here we go. And now the Standard Velocities in the bottom left corner. And there you have it. Alright, now we're going to do the Blazers and the Velociters. Or the Stingers and the Velociters. Stingers are going to be the top right hand side and the Velociters are going to be bottom. 5 shots apiece, and here we go. Alright, now Velociters. There you go. Alright, and here are the results. This is the CCI Blazer at 50 yards. Typical bulk pack ammunition, which it shot pretty good. This is about as big as not quite as big as my finger is crossed, so that gives you an idea. It shot pretty good for the price of that ammo. It's pretty cheap, but it's hard to come by, just like all 22 ammo nowadays. Then here's the standard velocity, which shot outstanding. 5 rounds into a 1/2 inch spot, which you can never complain about that. I was having to hold up high here to get them to fall in there because they lack the velocity for what my gun is sighted in, but they are very impressive accuracy. And here's the first stinger I shot. They were grouping good when I was holding in the right place. I was holding too high though, since they are fast and my gun shoots a little high with them. But I thought I could do better, and I did. That's the second target I shot with the stingers, and that's what I expect out of the stingers. They're $5.50 a box. They're one of 2 most powerful 22 shells ever made, and that's what you should be getting for that price. They shoot excellent out of my gun. Then here's Velocitor. I got excellent accuracy out of that also. 2 shots in this hole, but I couldn't be any happier with it. Also a $5 ammunition for 50 rounds. Alrighty, on to the jug test. Alright, water jug test. These are the stingers at 50 yards and 5 or 6 1-gallon jugs. Here we go. Alright, Velocitor at 50 yards. Here we go. Alright, this time Blazer. Alright, here we go. Alright, standard velocity. Here we go. There we have it. The far left is the stinger, the middle is the Velocitor, and the far right is the standard velocity. I wasn't able to recover the Blazer. Once it hit after it left the second jug, went sideways and cut through the edge of the third jug, so I wasn't able to find it. But the stinger went through 2 jugs and had the most damage, and it went the least far as going through jugs, but had the most expansion, which makes sense. The first jug was basically ripped in half. The second one had a good hole, and it was stuck in the far side of the plastic wall in the second jug. And you have this perfect, I mean, you ain't gonna get a better mushroom than that. And the Velocitor went through 4 jugs, the most of this test, and didn't really deform all that much. But that's why it probably went through 4, is because it was the second most powerful and it didn't deform, so law of physics go there. It's going to get most penetration. And the standard velocity went through 3 jugs and left pinpricks. Jugs barely leaked water. But it did penetrate 3, and the Blazers did penetrate 3, but I didn't find it. And really the best shell out of all 4 that I tested, I would have to say the Velocitor. You got the best combination of accuracy. You got the best penetrating hunting small game power for coyotes and fox. And it's a little bit cheaper than the Stinger. Not much, maybe 25 cents cheaper for a box of 50, but it's cheaper. But if you want to talk about pure power, the Stinger, I would say, would be the best. I mean, it expanded perfect, and it blew up that jug. There's another look at it. But the Blazer's typical bulk pack, it acted like a typical bulk pack. It wasn't really all that consistent. It was alright, don't get me wrong. You could definitely go out and shoot groundhogs and squirrels all day with it, but it wasn't you know, a half-inch shell at 50 yards. The standard velocity was the most accurate of the test. The Veloster was the second most accurate, and the Stinger was the third, and obviously the Blazer was the fourth. The Veloster and the Stinger are really, really close in accuracy. It's within my error of shooting. I mean, I'm not perfect, so I try to get them best, but they're really close. And as far as power, it's a coin flip. Do you want a little bit more penetration, or do you want a great gaping wound in the first 4 inches? That's what I always think. So they'd both get the job done on coyotes and fox and coon. And frankly, the standard velocity, unless you're shooting the little gophers or chippies, they just aren't a really good hunting shell. But you flip that over and you go to accuracy, target shooting, even at over 100 yards, it's very accurate. See, what makes standard velocity so accurate, it's already right on the border at the muzzle of being subsonic, so you don't get that violent deceleration when the bullet turns subsonic. The bullet doesn't tumble, so it stays more stable for a longer distance, even though it's slower. It's tack driver, and the Blazer, it did alright too. For what you pay, 20 bucks for 500 of them, you can't really complain. But then again, the Stinger went through 2 jugs, most damage. Veloster went through 4 jugs. With little expansion, it did decent damage, but it was second most accurate of the test. Standard velocity was the most accurate, went through 3 jugs, and it was also the least powerful. So if I had to rate, in my book, a winner, I would have to say the Velociter, Stinger, standard velocity, and Blazer. And because I don't target shoot, I usually hunt. I don't plink a lot because ammo is hard to come by. So if I had to rate it, that's what I would do. As far as reliability, I did not have one malfunction over the whole test with the Stinger Velociter. The standard velocity gave me 2 malfunctions, and the Blazers give me 1 malfunctions. And I think it's just due to the lower velocity that ain't kicking the bolt back decent. But I don't know, maybe the gun's a little dirty too. But well, that was the test. I hope you liked it. Otherwise, I was happy with the results. I kind of figured the results would be kind of like this, but you never know. Who would have thought the Stingers would only want 2 jugs, but the damage was unbelievable. Well, alright, well, thank you. Thanks for watching.